knowledge. God doesn't have the knowledge of being wrong. God doesn't have the knowledge of stealing. God doesn't have a knowledge of lying.
You can have the knowledge of something without having to do it.
Is not all
You can have the knowledge of something without having to do the thing.
Not really. You don't have. You can't have the experience of doing something.
Is that really impossible? You're a clever man. You're a clever. Yeah, what's your name? What's your name again?
They call me Pavlov.
Pavlov. How are you, my friend? So I would say to you, you're a clever man, right? If I say to you, well, do you really need to have the knowledge that? Do you really need to have experience of touching a flame in order to know that it burns you?
I need to know the knowledge of the feeling, how it burns.
No, you don't need to have that.
I will know it hurts, but I will not know exactly the way how it hurts.
Is it conceivable,
unless
Pavlov,
I get hurt?
Let me ask you a question. Is it conceivable? Is it conceivable for someone to know that fire burns without having ever been burnt?
Is it conceivable for you to know how something tastes sweet?
You're gone.
Is it possible? Without ever tasting anything that's sweet?
If you're talking about me personally, me with my limited parameters and so on, you could argue yes, in an ontological sense. You can argue that I have a dream of sucking a lollipop. That'll be an ontological answer. We're just talking about that, right? Or you could argue no. But both of those arguments are valid. But when we're talking about the
I mean, logically you can't because you never experienced.
But that's a
naturalistic
naturalistic
knowledge of experience.
What we've just said, right? You can have knowledge of experience without having that material experience. For example, I might have, sorry to be very explicit here, a wet dream. Okay?
No problem.
I might have, and
everybody has
many boys and and girls have wet dreams. Okay? Now it's quite a similar experience. Maybe not fully in its entirety to the sexual experience, right? Now, let's say, for example, the person has never had actual sexual intercourse, but they've had a wet dream. But they can ontologically fathom what the sexual experience
they can have an orgasm.
Yeah, will entail.
Without having sex.
Right, so the same thing, there's a fallacy here in your reasoning that you have to actually materially, cosmologically go through an experience through the senses, the five senses, in order for there to be a knowledge of every, in and out of that particular transaction. That's not necessary. It doesn't follow like that. You can have a knowledge of how the experience will feel without having materially felt that thing through an ontological sensation, for example.
How can you tell what red is while being blind?
You can if you have an ontological experience. If you have a dream of red. If you have a dream of redness.
If you're blind, you will not see any colors in your
How do you know? If you have a dream, if you're a blind person, have a dream.
Are an agglomeration of the world that we see now. A distortion of
what do you think?
Like the
you
thing
cannot
that,
see in dreams something that
I've got a great example.
Zero link to
okay, I'm going to disprove you right now. Okay,
go ahead,
and you are going to accept it. Okay, and you are going to accept it.
Go ahead.
Yes, because you are a man of humility and integrity.
Of course, lots of humility.
Does mathematics exist in the real world?
Sorry to interrupt. We talk about, he was explaining what you're arguing about. As God created the concept of stealing, He created all concepts is above our comprehension and everything. So was your question before, how can God know what stealing is if He never stole anything?
No, I covered that. I'll come to it in a second, so I don't lose my train of thought. Sorry about that. Sorry.
The question.
No. So here the point is, mathematics is entirely ontological, accept or not?
Ontological. Ontological. What exactly do you mean by that in this specific sense?
In the mind. It's not
mathematics is in
the
mind.
Yes.
This ties to the question I want to ask you.
Is mathematics
theoretical knowledge, right?
Theoretical. Is mathematics ontological or is it cosmological?
So cosmological, you mean by cosmological?
Cosmological, that which is perceived through the five senses. Yes. Yeah. So ontological in your mind.
Ontological in your mind.
Which is it?
Okay. Which is mathematics?
Yes.
Ontological or cosmological?
Yes.
Right. If I had to answer that, I would say
Isn't mathematics factual?
No, but is it conceived of in the mind or is it put under a microscope?
I will come to facts.
Do we find out about numbers through the microscope or do we know it?
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, but facts can be either ontological or cosmological. I'm asking, is mathematics, is it something in the mind or is it something that you get through the five senses under a microscope? Can you put numbers under a microscope?
it's facts. It means you don't get it.
No.
And you don't get it right.
Don't go that way.
No, I wouldn't agree with that.
Don't go that way.
I would come back to that, but that's not correct answer.
Now,
Go on.
you are telling me I'm using fallacies while you use the fallacy right now.
What's it called? What? False dichotomy?
Because
What
we
are you
don't
gonna
know
say?
mathematics when we are born.
That's what
The
you're saying.
mathematics we know in our head is the mathematics that has been taught to us with the numbers that we see.
Yeah, no problem. Even if
our
you've been taught it,
perception.
you've been taught it. But even when you were being taught it, were you being taught it? Is mathematics found out through an investigation of science, or is it found out through mental abstraction?
I would say it
The thing, there is
reinforces
nothing,
each other.
There is nothing in
No
this
problem.
world.
But where does it start? Where does it start? Sorry, I apologize.
It's fine.
I actually want to ask this man some genuine questions. I am genuinely.
Let's finish this thing one thing at a time.
But this is what I'm saying. You finish your.
Do you see what I mean?
I see what you mean, but I
Nothing
think
in this world is truly ontological because everything we know goes through our
All right.
senses.
Okay, no problem. I have a challenge for you then, Pavlov. Yeah. I have a challenge for Pavlov. I have a challenge. All right.
I think I know what the challenge
You know,
will be.
no, I've got a good challenge for Pavlov. My challenge for you, Pavlov, and for every other naturalist in the world, is to prove mathematics through the scientific method. Is it conceivable?
Through the scientific
Yeah.
method.
Is it possible that you can prove mathematics through the scientific method? Yes or no?
In theory, you can. But
How?
the
Show me how.
application of theories to the real world.
Do you think it's
is
possible?
flawed. Wait, guys.
I think that if
This is-
science itself, science destroys itself.
Yeah. No. Right. So it's impossible for
like
mathematics
quantum
to be
mechanics.
established through the
Quantum
scientific
mechanics
method.
contradicts
Basically,
many
sort of,
theories,
yeah.
scientific
Yeah.
theories
So, no,
that we have.
You're not
like
understanding-
Einstein's
Pavlov, you're not getting the question.
No, I am getting
All
the
right. Do you know what the
question.
scientific method is?
Sorry?
What is the scientific method?
Scientific method.
Yeah, go on.
It's something that you prove.
What is it? What are the steps? What do you do? How do you go? How do you?
Explain the scientific method.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So you have, let's say for example, you have a hypothesis, right?
Yes.
Then you go into the laboratory in controlled settings. You run the experiment
Yes.
in controlled settings and so on, and then you put your conclusions in a journal.
Yeah.
Then there's peer review, falsification, after popper, and so on.
No, you miss a very crucial point.
Sorry, go ahead. I might have, yeah.
It's falsibility.
Yeah, I said that. I said falsification. I did say that.
Not only that,
I just said
there are more things
That's like
in
the most
there.
important thing.
Yeah, I did say that. I did say that.
Essentially, what you're trying to do is
Yes.
find something that you can prove false.
Yeah, all right. I said that, but you
See,
didn't
no
listen.
scientific
No, you did.
experiment
I did.
is
It's on the camera. You can
absolutely
check it.
as quantum mechanics proves to us
Right,
many
right.
times.
Anyway,
No,
it's-
people of you, brother. It's like,
Falsification.
we're not going to argue about something,
Yes, yes,
right?
yeah.
But it's like, because it's very important.
Right,
The
let's
difference
come
between
to
science and everything else is that you're actively looking for
There's
something
interference in the
to
battle.
find something wrong with
Happens all the time.
I'm not making anything wrong with science. I'm just saying that.
You're not looking for something that confirms what your belief is.
Yes, yes,
You're
I
trying
agree.
to disprove. what
No,
your-
I agree. That's Karl Popper. That's
Okay.
falsification. I said
so
that.
I'll shut the fuck up because I'm an arsehole. Me and you, I want to ask you something.
Oh, okay, afterwards. Yeah, let me just finish with Pavlov. You cannot put numbers under a microscope. They cannot be smelt. They cannot be touched. They cannot be felt. You cannot go through the five senses. Numbers are ontological.
No.
They're ghosts.
And there's no difference
You
of
see
opinion.
a number
All right,
because
give me
you
one
saw a
philosopher who said this.
I'm an idiot. Can you
There's no-
define ontological?
Ontological is that which is in the mind.
I looked it
It's
up
something
on-
logical, something you can.
In this context,
The conclusion you can
mental.
come to.
It's a mental thing.
It's a conclusion you can come to without actually having to see anything logically.
So why do you
No,
just
no,
call
no,
it
no.
logically?
No,
Yes,
no,
it
that's
is.
not what
It's
it
like
is.
David Hume's relations of ideas.
My understanding
That's
of
ontological.
No, here in this context, when I say ontological, I mean that which is in the mind, all right? That which you can conceive mentally rather than through the five senses, like a dream, for example.
Yeah.
Yes?
The way I understood
Mathematics is like a
dream
dream.
is based
They're in the
on
same
what you saw
category
in
of things.
reality.
The way I understood
You
the
need
ontological-
reality to distort it
You're
somehow
unconscious.
to the
The
dream.
drive-
Yes, but the unconscious is made of shards of the conscience. You don't have anything
Anyway,
if you never perceive that.
Mathematics is not in the real world. That's
bro.
why Plato had the mode of
That's the
form.
fallacy you're making, and I see how
There's no
many people
fallacy.
would have fallen for this.
No, by the way, no one has argued against what I'm
Right.
saying that I know of.
But this
No
ties
one has
into
argued
Yeah,
against. You're saying, I'm arguing against what you're
no, but
saying
you're
right
not.
now.
To be honest, you're.
Do I
listen,
have to have a name as a philosopher for you to take me seriously?
I'm just saying to you.
Does
Here's the
me-
challenge. You have to
does
meet the
me
challenge.
rationally argue with
meet
you
the
is not enough?
meet the
Is
challenge.
that not enough?
Meet the challenge. The challenge is prove mathematics through the scientific method, and you cannot do that. It's impossible because science presupposes principles which are logical in order to do science. Those are metaphysical. They don't rely on the five senses, and there's no way in which you can use the scientific method to prove their own the principles of science. Logical principles are metaphysical. They are a priori. They're not a posteriori. They are mental. They are abstract.
That's debatable. Once you don't
you have to prove you have to prove through naturalism.
Once you don't have any senses, no sight, no smell, no feeling.
I'll explain to you.
No, wait. I'll let you talk. Let me talk. You cannot see one as one. There's nothing. Once you have
How do you know that?
senses,
So a blind person.
there's absolutely nothing.
So does if okay? I've got a question. If
With zero senses,
I've got a
no senses
okay, fine,
whatsoever.
perfect. Take all the 7 billion people on the earth out of existence, and all the animals out of existence.
That's a hell of a thing to do.
Right. Take every living thing out of existence.
That's a
Yes?
huge thing to do.
Does mathematics exist?
No.
No, it doesn't. Pablo, thank you, man.
I'm not shaking your hand. This is not over yet.
So,
Don't run away.
so,
Don't
two-
go
alright.
Hashim.
Can I add to
No,
this?
no.
Because I agree with you.
That's fine. So 2 plus 2,
No,
2 plus 2 equals 4 depends on my existence and your existence.
Exactly.
Because this is the important part. That left proves to me that you follow the same logic as Hashim does. Because he never
I don't
once,
watch Hyde,
he
sorry,
never
I'm
once even
2 plus 2
tried.
equals 4.
He never
Does
once.
that-
No, don't
is 2
interrupt.
plus 2
don't
equals
interrupt.
4?
Don't interrupt Hashim too. Don't interrupt Hashim too. Tall Hashim. I'll call you Tall Hashim from now on. I told Hashim that I'm not certain about my existence because I'm not certain in what shape or form I truly exist beyond my perception. You perceive my existence in a different. Guys, don't interrupt for fuck's sake. Don't interrupt.
Come on, don't sweat.
We're finally getting somewhere. Now, Hashim refused to understand that because his agenda is to disprove what I'm saying and to ridicule it as much as possible. Because he refuses to understand that his perception is not the exact same perception that is absolute truth. I see color with my eyes because my eyes have 3 color receptors. I smell because my nose has a certain ability to perceive smell.
Well, you can have that in a dream.
I don't hear as well as a deer hears. I don't see as well as an eagle sees.
How in a dream?
My senses are not perfect.
You can hear in your dream, and
Sorry?
you can see in your dream, and your eyes are closed.
I can see in my dreams. I can hear in
if
my
you're
dreams.
blind,
I
you
can
can
touch
still
in my dreams.
speak to a blind person. Here's your homework. The homework is speak to a blind person and ask them if they've ever had dreams before, where they visually see things. Right? If you think that blind people don't have dreams, that's denying the
probably do
experience.
have dreams.
Ask them.
But they have
Ask them.
sound in
Your
the dreams.
eyes, when you close
They do
your
not
eyes
see
like that,
color
you still
in
see.
dreams. They do not see
How
shapes
do you know
in
that?
dreams.
How do
No
you-
blind person will ever tell you that. How do you know they do?
I know that.
How do you know they do? How?
I've spoken to blind people before.
To blind people, you've spoken to them.
Yeah.
Now I ask a question.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I have a
Yes.
question for you.
Go
So, sorry for interrupting. Now, if someone is focusing
wanna
so
continue?
much, no, I'm okay. I just
Oh,
Okay.
you're leaving. You're leaving.
Is there anything you want to say to me?
Don't leave just yet.
I think we're done.